What?
Hey everybody, welcome to Birdcast. This is our Game of Thrones edition of our very special Bird People podcast. This is Season 6, Episode 2. A lot went down. We did it. Spoiler alert, if you haven't watched yet, Jon Snow is back, and maybe better than ever. Maybe he's different. We don't know. We're going to talk about that. There's so much happened. We finally seen Bran after being out for a whole season. Sansa and Theon, they split ways. There's a lot we're going to get into in this show. I'm joined with Chris Millay and Eric Grigg. How are you guys doing today?
I am doing fantastic. How are you, Joe Brown?
I could not be more happy.
That was the most I am doing fantastic, Joe Brown.
Chris?
I'm doing good, excited and fucking vindicated after saying it for fucking how long?
Yeah, I think it was something we all saw coming. Hopefully, we all believed it, but just actually seeing it happen, it was worth the wait. So we're gonna, how we usually do these, we're just gonna talk about our favorite moment or our best moment, the thing that we want to talk about the most, thing that leapt out the most to us from the episode, and then any loose pieces that we don't talk about, we're going to talk about quickly. But the important things that matter to us. So, Eric, start us off. What was your favorite moment of Season 6, Episode 2, Home?
My favorite moment was definitely watching the mountain slam that dude's head into a wall.
I died laughing.
I swear to God.
Similarly, the giant at the wall. Similarly,
I saw that guy talking shit about. Okay. See, fair enough. That sentence fits two scenes. I'm talking about the mountain slamming that dude's head while after the dude was talking shit about Cersei.
Yeah.
I saw that scene where he was just like, "Hey, Cersei flashed me her tits and smirked at me." I'm just like, he's gonna die so hard. But I wasn't expecting it so immediately, and I just saw the mountain just slam his head into the wall. I was like, oh, fuck.
How about that awkward pause, though? The awkward pause where they're just looking at each other for a second.
Right, and you hear him pissing on his armor.
And then just all of a sudden, just... Douche.
I was like, Jesus.
Oh man, that was
guy didn't
great.
make it.
It's like there are times where comedy works in Game of Thrones. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We need a little more lighthearted moments like that, and that was great.
And it was brutal as hell. What do you mean lighthearted?
No, lighthearted for
lighthearted
us. Sucks for that guy, but it was funny for us.
It was a funny death. It was a pretty funny death.
It was pretty great to watch.
I mean, that and the fucking giant at the wall were the two funniest deaths of that episode, because
the giant arrow would do anything.
Yeah, and the giant just turned around and was like, "Really, dude? Really?"
And then after he fired that arrow, just everybody threw their weapons on the ground. I'm like, right, that is the right thing to do there. You should have done that as soon as he walked through the door.
Oh man, that was fun. It was good to see. And then there were some fun, just talking about lighthearted comedy moments. There were fun moments with Tyrion and Varys too. Going back and forth.
Have either of you guys ever seen Lethal Weapon before?
Yeah.
They are totally like fucking the like buddy cop, and Varys is constantly going like, Riggs, I'm too old for this shit. Like the way Varys treats him is just like, I'm too old for this shit. Just looking at him when he's walking down, he's like, yeah, I'm totally behind you. Yeah, just I love that.
So, all right, so that was Eric's favorite moment. Chris, what was your favorite moment?
I'm torn. And I think we're going to talk about more of the whole Jon Snow and everything, so let me get back to that scene when we do. So, that was on my list, but I think the Ramsay and Roose thing was... It took me for a turn, because I thought it would be the other way around, out of all honesty. And
you thought Roose was going to kill Ramsay?
I thought that way. Mostly because it's like Roose is very calculating and realizes he's a mad dog kind of thing. And... I don't know. I didn't expect him to be that careless getting that close to Ramsay kind of thing. But at the same time, it just completely threw me, and it kind of showed... many people was talking about how that was like, oh, well, Ramsay's going to come to power. I'm like, no, that's Ramsay's death sentence, because Roose was the only thing keeping him alive. And sure, he's got the Karstarks now, but who's going to follow him now after he's killed a lord and pissed off everyone else and pretty much... had almost basically forced Sansa Stark into marrying him, kind of thing.
And it shows that he's got no loyalty, not even to his own house.
Yeah, exactly. So I really like the interaction between them, because it... Dude, do you know the name of the person who plays Ramsay? I always forget.
I don't know the actor's name.
I'll look it up
as
as we're talking. But Ramsey.
Bet I could get to it first.
Oh yeah.
Ooh,
it's a race off.
It's a race. It's a race.
But I'm not even because I'm talking right now. So Eric, do the job.
Iwan Rheon.
What is his name?
Iwan.
Okay.
Iwan. Maybe it's pronounced Ivan.
Okay.
But Rheon. Rheon.
Okay, cool. It's just he
That's what I thought it
did
was.
such a good job
Well,
of
did you-
having this going from this tenderness to. I mean, he always had this madness, but you always kind of saw something else behind his eyes, and there was a purpose. But you saw when he unleashed those dogs.
Right? Oh my god, I was
Just
not
the
okay with that
madness.
scene.
Just the
I
madness.
was so
that is him.
not okay with that
Like
scene.
he is,
I'm sorry, Joe Biden, do you still feel sympathy a little bit for Ramsey Bolton?
Yeah, so we'll talk about
You
our
still feel a
conversation.
little
last
sympathy?
week. I knew this was going to blow up in my head. From a week-to-week basis, yeah, from individual moments, you can sympathize with a terrible person, but they put him back on the track of, no, do not sympathize for him. He's not worth your time. He's a terrible person.
Right.
But, like, it's with Ramsey, they do so many things that it's like, we know he's bad. Like, the whole thing where he raped Sansa is like, did we need that? We already knew he was bad. To have the dogs kill the poor woman who just gave birth and a baby, like, we know he's bad. Do we need that? You know what I mean? Like, with his story, I don't know.
I think you do. Honestly, it has nothing to do with them giving us this stuff. I personally, from a story perspective, Game of Thrones is about things happening, okay, and people's choices.
And Walking Dead is about stuff and things.
Yeah, but it says, but think about it. Is yes, would Ramsey?
That's another Birdcast, Joe Brown.
But would Ramsey kill that child? Absolutely. Like that's the thing.
Oh yeah.
But what's more important in the situation, what defines him as a character, is how a reasonable person who wants to eliminate a threat, even of a child, poison, knife in the dark. Okay, that's how it works. Okay, that is as reasonable as it gets in that situation. But Ramsey does it in the middle of the day with a pack of dogs. Okay, that defines him as a character and what he does. And the dogs are symbolic because he's a fucking mad dog. That's what he is.
Right. That's what Roos called him. He said, if you're gonna act like a mad dog, I'm gonna treat you like a mad dog.
Yeah.
So
I think it's necessary as much as, and with the Sansa thing, I think people are more up in arms about that. But that was more of a commentary on the world that you're in, because this is shit that happens in this world, you know. And
what that scene did very well though was Ramsey did have an out. He did have an option. The Fat Wanda or whatever.
Oh my god.
That's what they call her. That's her name.
Her name is Wanda.
The Fat Wanda. She said, "I'll go live off wherever. I'll take my baby. We won't compete for the throne. We won't do anything." So he had the out, and he still chose to be evil. So I did like that part where they did give him the option of having a redeeming moment, and he said, "No, I prefer to be an only child."
I really did not enjoy watching that scene in any way, shape, or form. And that's like the point.
When he grabbed it.
That was the point. I knew it was coming, but I was like, as soon as she started saying, "Ramsey, please don't do this. Ramsey, please just let me be," I'm just like, I don't want to watch this anymore. Can I fast forward through this scene? I don't want to watch this happen.
I liked it because of what it did for the character. Out of all honesty, like it was. I think it's a brilliant piece to cement in place what he's become. Like because. Even no matter how many bad things he does, there's still that little nigging part of redemption in the back of your head, and maybe, or it's his father's fault, or it's this fault, or it's someone else's fault. No, it is. Joffrey was the fault of 1,000 different people. Ramsey is his own fault. Exactly. That is exactly what they're making in that situation. You know, and that.
I mean, we thought. Let's think about this for a second. We all had Joffrey sitting there as our main foil for like seasons 1 through 3. Everybody hated Joffrey. Yeah. But like we traded in Joffrey for Ramsey Bolton. So I mean, did we make a profit? I guess.
I don't think so.
Take a step forward.
No, I think Game of Thrones doubled down on evil. Exactly. Like if you hated Joffrey, wait till you see Ramsey.
Oh, exactly. Like, at this point, Joffrey is definitely preferable because Joffrey was just an asshole. We could deal with Joffrey. This is a whole new level of terribleness because this is evil with power.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but I think it is it is very short-sighted of Ramsey, which is pretty much all of his decisions are very, they're always in the moment, just like what I need to do right now, because the North already does not like the Boltons. They have the written pledged loyalty from the families of the North, saying you have either pledge for us or we kill you. So all right, fine, I'll write my signature that we pledge for you, but we don't actually support the Boltons. So he got rid of Roose Bolton, who was the only person holding the North together for the Boltons. You know what I mean? So people, it's not going to end well for Ramsey. And what was with the other guy? Like, why are there so many people who just stand by in the middle of coups? Last week we had Dorn. Yeah.
No, he was in on it.
But last week we had the Dorn servants or whatever military just watched the prince get killed.
They too were also in on the coup.
I don't think
there's a bunch of people who were in on the coup.
They were on it?
They were in on it though.
That's why they only killed his guard. That's why they only killed his personal guard.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I mean,
because it's 2 weeks in a row that we have a coup, and who is supposed to be military.
That's another issue that I taken with the show this season. Like, we've gone through, we've killed how many characters, and we've only been through 2 episodes.
Yeah.
But
the pacing is just really, we're going for it this season.
But think about this: if you really want to think about it, this is like the first with Robert Baratheon. Let's just go back for a second. This is about a story about the first time ever that a Targaryen is not on the throne, and they want to show what happens when this gap of power opens up. All the people you think that are going to take it are going to fucking die. But what I like is Karstark is supposed to be there because he hates the fucking Starks for killing his fucking father.
For killing his dad.
Yeah. And
Robb Stark, way to go.
Yeah, but I mean, we've gone on about we've gone on about this a little bit. Joe, what was your favorite going on?
Well, I was going to say, you say it's a story about the first time a Targaryen isn't on the throne. I think at its core, Game of Thrones is still about the Stark children and how they react in the world, their place in the world. That's my personal opinion. That the show is about the Starks. It's like, even if Daenerys wins in the end, or Littlefinger, or Tyrion, whoever wins in the end, the show is still inherently about the Starks, in my opinion. But so we're gonna go to the least popular Stark at this point, Bran Stark.
What was your favorite scene in the
That's
show?
what I'm saying. That was my favorite scene. Open the episode with Bran Stark and the three-eyed Raven with Max von Sydow, and what Weiss and Benioff said in the extras, if you watched after the credits, was they don't want to do flashbacks because they think flashbacks are cliche and cheap ways of storytelling, but the way that they do it, that they think they can get around it, is by having Bran be there from the first-person perspective. We're not just showing cheap flashbacks for exposition. We're actually propelling the forward story by having a character we know experience it the first time that we do. So it's very smart how they did the flashback.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to see more of the Bran thing before I say that I like it or not, because
I like it. I'm in already.
Well, I know you do. Good for you. I appreciate that you like Bran. I do appreciate that because not a lot of people do. For me, it's just another Bran storyline, and I still have to see him and chew up 10 minutes of my episode before we get back to the people I care about.
Here's what I'm going to say.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, here's what I'm going to say is that has a tendency to become boring. This episode was good, but the thing is, if they do not find a way to spice that up, besides just, no matter what, if they can go in the first person perspective or not, if they just do that for 10 minutes every other episode or every episode, that's going to become boring as shit. Okay?
Yep.
They need
not when we find out Lyanna is Jon Snow's mom. It's not going to be boring.
That's historical and fun. That's fun stuff to know, and it will, that will be important, but at the same time, how long is it going to take to get to that point? And then what happens at that point? Because the thing is, if Bran doesn't progress as a character and just goes through flashback, he becomes a tool rather than a character to teach the audience. Right. So that's what I see, and that's my issue with it. So here's the thing: is unless he can find a way, I'm not saying he no longer needs to be crippled, but unless he finds a way to have mobility as a character, he's not gonna be interesting at all because he's just sitting in a goddamn chair remembering. That's what he's doing.
I really thought that he was walking again. I didn't put it back together because it was a dream. I thought he got some magic three-eyed raven power where he got the power to walk again. You know,
I think he's gonna walk by the end of the season.
I
he's
think
definitely gonna have
something. I think something's gonna happen, but I'm also interested in what the fuck happened to Hodor, like because he actually spoke. Because my brain.
What you talking about, Willis?
Yeah,
I think you mean Willis.
Exactly, but it's just like. So he was. But the thing is, here's the fucked up part. Here's the fucked up part. That means Eddard Stark knew what happened to him, because Eddard Stark was a boy.
Ooh.
And was in that scene and knew that he talked long before he was fucking Hodor. So it's kind of like,
he like brought Hodor in to protect him because
maybe Eddard feels responsible for what happened. Maybe Eddard Stark feels responsible for what happened. I have no idea, but I have mixed.
I am not prepared to watch that.
Yeah, something
because it's Game of Thrones. And it's going to be really, really dark and really, really violent and really sad. And it's just going to be him waking up and just saying, Hodor?
Yeah, exactly.
No, I think that, I think
he's going to have like a whole panic moment about how he can only say freaking Hodor. And I'm not prepared to put myself through that emotional trauma.
I think it's going to, I don't know if it's going to be true, but where I think how we get to Hodor's origin story is, it's something similar to Theon and Reek. And how he became Reek, I think Willis became Hodor in a much more extreme sense, where he's so psychologically messed up that he can only say Hodor. You know, so something similar of a torture or something that messed up Willis turned him into Hodor.
I think it's going to be something physical.
I think he saw something, not human. I think he legitimately saw something that messed with his brain. Like,
and that monster name was Hodor?
Yeah, no, but just think for a second, I mean, he's in the north, and there's a lot of wild things, but it just, either it's one of two things. It was head trauma, and someone hit him in the fucking head. Like, that's pretty much, that's the simplest explanation. He does have a big old scar up here, you know, if you use on him. So it's possible. But at the same time, I'd like to think that the reason, if it is head trauma, the reason he did that is he did it to, save Eddard or something like that, because they were kids, and he was the stable boy, and he was just kind of like, I'm going to help you, because he's huge. But, I don't know, it's tough to say. And I'm not going to, honestly, with Hodor, I want to have a bit more information until I figure it out.
Yeah. And last thing on Bran, before we move on, I think the best line in the entire episode was when Max von Sydow said, "It's beautiful under the ocean, but if you stay too long, you're gonna drown." Because Bran wanted to stay in there, he wanted to learn more about his father and the past of Winterfell and everything. But he said, you gotta have it in small doses because you're gonna get lost there. So I thought that was a beautiful line.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you guys want to talk about next? There's a lot. Sansa and Brienne.
So what do you think was the weakest part of the episode?
I think it was that, personally.
What,
I think.
Or
no. Sansa and that whole situation, because Bran was like, I spent 3 days trying to find her. I didn't. It was like, well, you should have kept going. You had a promise to Catelyn. You know what I mean?
She had a promise, but the thing is the Hound. She fought the Hound, and then they disappeared. So I can't really blame her for that shit.
No, I know, but to say I don't know. From Sansa, if I was Sansa, I'd be mad that you have this oath to find Arya and I, and you gave up on that oath, and whatever happened. But I think that was. I think Theon leaving it. It irked me because his explanation was basically, there's nothing I can do to make up for the harm that I did to your family, so I'm gonna bounce.
No, actually, I disagree with that completely. I think
that's what I got out of it.
Well,
I agree with Joe Brown.
Damage that I can't repair what I've done, and I have to pay for my,
I think his plan is to go home, obviously, right? His plan is to go home, but obviously, I think I understand that whole thing of I'm just going to bounce, but look at his situation, right? He trusts no one, right? He trusts no one because regardless of whether he's helping Sansa or not, he will not trust her because he trusted a lot of people. Ramsay built trust around him, so to speak, and then tortured him, disfigured him, all that stuff. That's broken. Yeah. So the whole thing with Sansa is I'll protect you. He's like, no, you won't. You won't. And let's be fair. Sansa is not the strongest role model for protecting people. Okay, let's be fair. So, Reek's walking to Castle Black, death sentence. I think we can all agree with that. If he shows up at Castle Black, he's dead.
Jon Snow
would just kill him. Now, so it's a logical explanation to be like, I'm going to bounce to the Iron Isles and go home, and try to rebuild who I am. And now, if I'm wrong here, this plays in. I thought the weakest part was the fucking Greyjoy nonsense. Okay,
I agree. That literally,
85-year-old man crossing a freaking wooden bridge in the middle of a storm.
You live in a castle. Why do you have a rope bridge? Why do you have a rope bridge?
Because they're the Greyjoys and they can weather any storm.
Oh, go fuck yourself! If you're any type of intelligent, build it out of fucking stone. Just build it out of stone. We're done. It's over. But
can I just say that we got an introduction to that in the entrance in this time around?
Yeah.
And they showed up for the first time in the entrance of this episode, and it was actually really cool to watch.
Yeah. But
it was. No, go ahead.
No, not you. It's fucking. Okay. I think Asha was a cool character before this season because I'm like, okay, she's cool. All this stuff. I want to see more going on with the Greyjoys, right? But
yes,
I thought it's like, okay, well, man, you did not spend a lot of time at all building up to his. He fell off a fucking bridge, an ominous man who's apparently his brother or something. That's what I got out of the situation.
Who's 25 years younger and looks like Theon's brother more than.
Right? There's some weird shit going on with the Greyjoys.
And then all of a sudden it's like, well, we can't give it to Asha and he has no other sons, so we need to have like an election salt moot. And then you see the obvious parallel between. Oh, Theon's heading back to the Iron Islands. Oh, I see what they're doing. And you're kind of
I didn't notice that, but you're right.
So this is the big question that I had from this episode. I went on the subreddit afterwards and looked up and saw what the community was conflicted on. So the question is, when Theon says he's going home, where is he going? Because in season 4, he admitted he was wrong for attacking Winterfell, and the Starks are his real family, and Winterfell is his real home because the Greyjoys disowned him, and his father said, "You're no son of mine."
Exactly.
So where is Theon's home? Is it with the Greyjoys, or is it Winterfell? Try to kill Ramsay or something like that.
No, it's the Greyjoys. Now, I'm saying it's the Greyjoys because of this. Because he destroyed his home. What was his home? Okay, he destroyed it, burnt it to the ground, and burnt every bridge he could out of false choices and the rest of his family. He, I think, in a realization is, I need to go back to my sister because she tried to save me and prove that there is still love for me in a place I didn't think was my home. Okay,
exactly. The Greyjoys
in a hopeless place like Rihanna. Right?
Yeah. Oh my God, I hate you. But the Greyjoys, what's the name of their area? Is it
Iron Islands, Pike?
The Iron Islands, Pike.
That's it's the name of
Iron Islands is literally the only place that he can go where no one will just flat out murder him.
Yeah,
true.
If he goes to Winterfell, the Boltons will flat out kill him. If he goes to the Wall, as we said earlier, Jon Snow will kill him. So the only possible place that he has left to go to is the Iron Islands. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, his father's dead, so he's going to have to deal with that. His sister probably won't be all too happy with him coming back at the time when she's trying to contend for the crown right now. So this is actually going to be really interesting dynamic.
Or, knowing that he doesn't have a dick anymore, she'll use him to become king, and then he'll name her child or whatever his successor, kind of thing.
So, Chris, could you try to explain Euron Greyjoy to us a little bit? Because from what I was reading, he's kind of a combination of both of Balon Greyjoy's brothers from the books. The one was a radical religious person, the other one was the crazy war guy. But Euron kind of is a combination of both.
From what I remember from the books,
the Storm.
Yes.
Which the Drown God fights with the Storm God. So he's saying, Balon, you're the Drown God, but I'm the Storm, and I'm.
And what he is he was a fantastic hero of Iron Isles kind of thing. He was famous pirate kind of, all that stuff. And what happened was, and you heard in that story, is that he went too far sailing in a windless sea and, kind of heat and all that type of stuff. So he was more of on the warrior side of things. He wasn't super religious. But then heat stroke equals madness. And then they did tie him to a mast. That's literally a thing that happened, so he wouldn't jump off the ship. And then he went crazy in the hot sun, And now he had that combination of religion and everything going on with that. He is the youngest brother out of all of them. I don't remember the name of the ship that he sails, but from what I remember, because in the last book that dealt with the Greyjoys, they were in the middle of having those election type of things, and it's so convoluted. They don't give a ton of background on him. He's just kind of this enigma, that just shows up. He's very mysterious and was thought to be dead, like actually dead.
Beat that ass.
Okay.
Yeah, but the other one that there's one other brother that is the oldest that I know of. I mean, technically there's two, but one's the priest, obviously, and he's nuts because he basically drowns people and saves them, kind of thing. That's what the Drown God does. And then there's the other one who I think is a badass. He's a full plate mail wearing on a ship kind of badass Viking pirate. Like I can't remember his name for the life of me, but they don't go into explaining him that much. They really don't. They're just
he's just a bad guy.
He's just
right?
I'm the crazy bad guy, and I think I'm a enigma of a god kind of thing, And fucking hell. It's
So let's move on to King's Landing. Eric, I know you kind of like Cersei, right?
I love Cersei, dude.
Right.
Cersei is like one of my favorite characters on the show.
What's your opinion of Tommen saying, "No, Mom, you're not allowed to leave"?
I was very upset with Tommen, to be honest. No, because Myrcella just died, and I get that you want to protect Cersei from literally everyone in King's Landing, in addition to the High Septim, and I forgot what is the whole the religion called?
The Faith Militant.
The Faith Militant. Thank you.
And the High Sparrow.
Yeah, High Sparrow. Thank you. So he wants to protect Cersei from the High Sparrow and the Faith Militant, and I get it, but Myrcella just died. How are you gonna block her from the funeral?
Yeah, because they won't
do that.
The High Sparrow
is just full of Tommen, since he took the throne, has just made bad decision after bad decision.
The High Sparrow even said you would shed blood in a holy place like this, so they wouldn't have killed Cersei. She repented for her
exactly.
sins. But they wouldn't have killed her at the funeral of her own daughter. I don't think.
At least I don't
think
so.
They would have shed blood. They definitely would have taken her, kind of thing.
But she repented for her sins.
She repented for one sin, okay, or a couple of sins. But it's very easy for them to tack more on top of her. Listen, the whole point of that scene between Jaime and the High Sparrow, which was very good, by the way.
It was a fantastic.
That whole point of that fucking scene was to all of a sudden stop making him look like the kindly old man. Okay, because that was
he is not.
You want more. You want the faith to control the Iron Throne. That's what you want, and I honestly think that that's going to come to a head, and that's going to be the Lannisters' next fight, because that's going to be, and it's going to involve the Mountain. No, Dorne will come after they're already exhausted from dealing with the faith. That's exactly what's going to happen, and and then they're going to have no support because they're basically going to burn the High Septon. That's pretty much what's going to happen.
Which will make the commoners even more mad at the Lannisters.
Exactly.
So
kind of thing. So either that or Cersei's going to go full intrigue mode, because now that Tommen gave that kind of, which is very touching when he said "teach me" kind of thing. And which is why I think he's going to stop making those mistakes, because Cersei's going to be like, "Come with me. I will show you the ways."
Fucking listen now.
Yeah. And I think Cersei's going to be like, "You fuck with my children, I'm going to fucking kill you." Just kind of.
Yeah, I can't wait for her to go crazy on this dude. As we see in the trailer, I'm going to keep bringing this up until it happens. Cersei chooses violence, and I cannot wait for that scene, because it's just going to be a bloodbath.
Oh, absolutely. I think that, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just I'm conflicted with the Faith Militant and the High Sparrow, because having radical religious zealots who their goal is just to be crazy, or their reasoning is just because they're crazy, or radical, it just doesn't. It's not strong, because there's sorry for trying to jump over my words here, but when a character is crazy for the sake of being crazy, it's not strong in my opinion. I think the High Sparrow, and they're radical because they're religious zealots. Like,
well, because
you know what
they
I
take
mean?
that. Well, they're radical because they're religious zealots. But if you read or if you see the tenets of the faith, they take it literally rather than perspective, rather than in a vague sense, in a way that we do it. So it's like if you were to take, and I hate to be this push button topic, but if you were to take the words of the Bible, word for fucking word, okay, you wouldn't necessarily, you'd be crazy. But I can see where that comes from, because if you take this book, word for word, you're going to be nuts, and everybody's going to be either under your foot, forced to believe it, and also combined with that word for word belief with the belief that if people do not take this word for word, they're sinning, and thus therefore against you. It's not necessarily crazy for the sake of crazy. There's a method behind the madness.
But why is Jaime Lannister not punished for his crimes, but Cersei and Marjorie are?
Because
when he admitted in front of like 40 members of the Faith Militant, I fucked my wife or my sister. I helped Tyrion kill my dad. I killed my cousin. But they just let him go.
Here's the thing. There's the point in the weakness of him. Here's the thing: is I personally believe, this is my opinion, is I think the High Sparrow is picking easy targets to gain fame with the commoners. So he's picking easy targets because then they're like, he took down Cersei, he took down Queen Marjorie, he did all this stuff, he's got this power. If he were to take on somebody like Jaime Lannister, he would be dead. Okay, he would be dead. And
they had that whole discussion at the funeral.
Yeah, and not even
they had the discussion at the funeral. If they decided to have a fight right then and there, Jaime would have killed him before any of the other zealots in the room got to him.
Yeah, exactly.
So Jaime is not the one he's gonna fuck with.
And here's the thing: he won't take over Jaime because here's what happens: Jaime kills High Sparrow. Yeah, zealots kill him. All of a sudden, guess what happens? There's no leader to hold at bay Cersei Lannister's fury at all. Because the High Sparrow can kind of cajole and get his way here and there, but then there's just a bunch of zealots that Cersei just goes, no, we're going to burn it. We're just going to burn all of it. And just fuck it.
And also, on top of that, if he dies, there's a whole power vacuum within the religious movement itself, so who's going to take over after him?
Exactly.
It's mostly going to dissipate if he goes away.
He is doing it for fame in his own way, to put himself in an inspired way among the people, in my personal opinion.
All right, so let's move on over to Marine with our friend Tyrion Lannister.
With
had the craziest hold my beer moment in television history when he said, "I'm going to talk to these dragons and get them to trust me." And he had a really touching story, and this is what Tyrion does so well: is he tells his perspective through stories that make you understand, his reasoning. Where I was a kid, and for my name day, all I wanted was a dragon. It didn't even have to be a big dragon, because it could be a small dragon because I'm small, and everybody laughed at me, and I cried myself to sleep that night. And that's when he touched the dragon for the first time.
And you heard that breath.
Was
you heard that deep breath.
Awesome moment.
Can I also say, just on a side, they've really worked on the CGI for those dragons, because they
really did.
Good.
I noticed that too.
Like,
the budget went sky high for them.
The bridge of the nose area where it was all contracting, and I was like, "Whoa, that's fucking great."
Flames in his mouth, and
it's beautiful.
I wonder what they're gonna do now, though. That's the thing. Like, it's because
are they still in there, or did they leave? Because they just walked back into the darkness. So
well, that's the thing.
They didn't. He was supposed to give them supper, and they didn't get fed.
Well, no,
they got fed.
So they have food there. They're not eating it.
But they don't want to. They don't want to eat while they're being chained, because the way he said it is they're smart and intelligent. They know they're being held in captivity. They're more intelligent than us, and he truly believes that. And I think you're going to see more steps he's going to take to try to befriend them. And I can't tell you whether it's going to go good or bad. Because. No, because here's exactly what happens in the book. In the book, he never does that, because Tyrion never makes it there before. Well, no, not that he died, but he's not there.
But he's not actually there.
He's outside the walls, as far as I know. But what literally happens is they fucking escape due to somebody being stupid. Like, they just escape into the city. But that didn't happen. I was like, because I expected them like, okay, well, this is the part where he unleashes them and they run, and they just, that thing.
I thought they were gonna bolt.
I thought they were
going to take Varys out, and they were just gonna go for it.
Yeah, but I like this way better, because it's like it's showing, because rather than dragons just being beasts, because George R. R. Martin doesn't talk about them being intelligent. He just talks about them being dragons. and being connected to users or whatever. He just talks about them that way. But I like this way that dragons are intelligent. I always love the story where dragons are intelligent beings.
Right.
You know?
They showed respect to Tyrion as a thank you for unchaining us.
You
know
saw
what I
it
mean?
immediately when the other one turned his head towards him.
Yeah. He was like, I'm going to burn you. Yeah. He's like, I'm going to burn you. Oh, wait. You just unlocked my brother? Here, help me out real quick.
Yeah, exactly. And then they just walked away. Cool, thanks, bro. You know, just bye.
That was cool. I think it was
Daenerys
cool,
is gonna ride a dragon.
But I'm with you, Chris. Yeah,
and Daenerys
I don't think Tyrion knows what he just did. You know what I mean? Because we don't. It could be great. It could be great. Marine could start respecting Daenerys again because he's got dragons circling it. Those dragons could go help her escape from the Dothraki, and the Dothraki can bow down to her again. Like, so it could work. But it might not work out, you know. So we got to see. Yeah. So let's get down to business, like Mulan. All right. Let's talk about the the ending. We're at the wall. Chris, take it away.
No. It's just so we obviously everyone knows. I mean, we're all happy Jon Snow's alive. I think we can all agree on that. I don't want to have to go into a huge deal about it because it's like, okay, this is done. We have all these predictions, but with Jon Snow, I'm just going to wait and see where they go with it, because they already went on one direction. But the thing I loved about that was the conversation between Melisandre and Davos. That conversation was perfect, because it was, in a way, you saw her in that loss of faith, and then you bring out the wisdom of Davos, who's grounded, who says, you made me believe in a lot of things, but here's what you should do. When he just said, fuck them, do it for you. Like, he's like, fuck all of them, you know, and he named, like, Drowned God, Storm God, Red God, you know, they're all the
God.
same, fuck them, you know, he's like, he's all the same, and he's like, do it for you, and that was the change I was really looking for in Melisandre, because you can only have somebody speaking religiously for too long before they become repetitive, and they need progression.
It brought a really human element to her character,
and she looked drawn and withered, almost like, even regardless of how beautiful she looked like the old woman, kind of just sitting in that chair and leaning back. Like, you felt the old woman. There was almost a bit of it in her eyes, and it was so well done. And then how they drew out the scene of her trying to revive, and of course everyone's going to leave before he rises. I
didn't like that. I personally did not like that. She gave a half-ass effort, cut your hair off, like, kind of melodramatically speak the Valyrian, whatever, and then they're like, well, it didn't work. And then it worked. Like, I didn't...
I think it takes time. Fire needs to gather heat, kind of thing. But what I liked about that is it's all dependent on one thing. What?
Eric's a science major, Chris, so you gotta calm down.
Fuck off! I'm sorry. Would you like to scientifically explain me dragons? I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Excuse me. Can you tell me how we can build a 1,000-foot high ice wall, Mr. Scientist?
I'm sorry, but I'm pretty sure fire works the same in Westeros.
All right. Fire needs heat.
Then tell me how dragons breathe fire. Okay, tell me how that fire works. Okay,
they have a fucking fire gland, Chris Millay.
Oh, do they? Do you know that, Mr. Scientist? I'm sorry.
I did a dissection. It's in a book somewhere.
Okay, can you refer me to a dragon? Do you have many leather-bound books in your apartment in which you can direct me to? Do you have those?
I will cite the source in APA format. Don't worry.
APA format. Okay. Oh, I prefer Chicago
American
style because I'm a heathen. So, I'm actually MLA, so I'm a heathen, so it's okay.
So you get a zero. You get a zero. I do want to say with the scene with Davos and Melisandre that you were talking about, what was great was the juxtaposition of Davos's perspective on Melisandre's power. Because if you remember, when he was held prisoner in season 4, I think it was, and he talks to Stannis and he says, Stannis, how can you believe, how can you go with this red woman, this, killer, this crazy person? And Stannis says, when I've seen what she can do, how can you not believe in her? Yeah. So now Melisandre's the one doubting her powers, and Davos saying, I've seen what you can do, how do you not believe in yourself right now? Like, that was a great turn of perspective for Davos' character.
Interesting.
No, and that's a very good point. I didn't notice that before, but I understand the doubt in herself, because she's literally been wrong at almost every single point thus far. She was wrong about the Battle of Blackwater. She was wrong about the attack on Winterfell. I understand why she's doubting herself.
Go back to my theory.
That's the point that I'm at. She's talking about how she saw this massive victory in the flames and the fire, and it's like, she didn't see. I guess she didn't see who was the victor.
I think it was Jon
because
Snow.
she thought it was Stannis, but it was obviously not him.
I think they saw Jon Snow because here's the thing: Jon Snow, literally, besides the getting stabbed thing, has won every fight he's been in. Every single one. And every time you notice, I see...
And to be fair, the stabbing really wasn't a fight.
Well, it wasn't really a fight.
Yeah, it wasn't.
It was really just more of a stabbing.
He has won every action that he's gone across, you know? And and if you try to relate, and I haven't looked it up, but I feel like I want to do this. I want to go back and look at all of her prophecies and then follow Jon Snow's story, because a lot of them seem to match up, because you talk about a great battle in the snow and a great victory. I'm like wildlings versus the fucking Night's Watch, and you look at all that type of stuff, and you see all these other pieces, and then you notice everything Melisandre's been kind of doing has been for the benefit of Jon Snow, whether she knows it or not.
Yes.
Like everything has been like she's got Stannis to go there and help, kind of thing.
No, one prophecy she made did come true. Remember, she had the leeches on Gendry's junk.
Yeah.
That was to represent the killing of all the kings. All 5 kings are dead now, with Balon Greyjoy dying. So
you're right.
So her prophecy was right. They all of the usurpers of the throne, all 5 not real kings, including Stannis, are all dead. So her prophecies are coming true, just not how she intended them.
That's the thing about prophecy, though. They come. It's not like they mean they need to come now, or it's just this thing. Speaking of which, where the fuck is Gendry? It just made me think about that. Like he's put him on a rowboat in the middle of the ocean. First of all, let's just point that out. And it's like, head to Valyria. I don't fucking know. Like, and he's also the fucking bastard son of Robert Baratheon.
Yes.
So Daenerys.
Yeah, but where is
probably?
Benjen? There's so many characters that they just got rid of.
Benjen's a White Walker. Let's be fucking.
I hope so. I hope Jon Snow's like, Uncle Benjen.
Brand's gonna have to kill him again. It's gonna be a whole thing.
Oh,
yeah,
wait,
that would be.
There was this guy, and I don't know if it's gonna appear in this, but it had to do with Bran's story. You know when they marched, when Hodor and everything, and they were attacked by White Walkers, getting to the Three-Eyed Raven kind of thing.
Yes.
So there was this random, almost White Walker-ish person, right? He was like an undead. Churned, right? But he was able to talk and follow and tell them what to do, and he led them to the Three-Eyed Raven. But he was all hidden, and there were theories that he was Benjen Stark.
He was Benjen Stark? Okay.
Yeah, there was theories, but I can't confirm anything. You know, it's just kind of like there were theories going on that he's Benjen Stark. But I think he's either going to just be the side way where you just find him dead, you know, and he's an undead, or he's going to have a much bigger role to play somewhere with Bran. You know, because he's there. You know, I don't think he's going to have much to do with Jon, because I think he's farther away than that. So.
Getting back to Jon Snow, I'm so happy he's back. Like, I get it. Or like, I literally was putting my hands up, like I was giving my energy to Goku for the Spirit Bomb. I swear, like I was so rooting for Melisandre to make it back. I know beggars can't be choosers. Internet, we all wanted Jon Snow back, but I was disappointed with how it happened. It was so like, okay, we're gonna give it to you just so you all shut up, just so we get it out.
No, I don't think so at all.
I feel like you could have done.
No, I don't think that was the case. I feel like this was literally the worst kept secret of the Game of Thrones universe. We all knew that he was coming back because we saw pictures of him on set. Kit Harington was literally the worst at hiding it.
Well,
he literally just basically told everybody.
Regardless of the secret, like, look at the scene though. Okay, It was meant to be I think they pulled a Frankenstein, okay? They pulled a Frankenstein, which is...
With the mountain.
Yeah, no, but, like, they pulled a Frankenstein's monster thing, where Dr. Frankenstein thought he had failed. He leaves the room, and then the monster starts yelling, okay? And that's a classic, okay? That's a thing. It's not just giving you what you want. It's this... it's partly suspense, but it also speaks to... The first person to notice something was up was Ghost, okay? That he was back. The first person to notice was Ghost.
The Warg theory.
The Warg thing, possible. But at the same time, I think it was more of, he's been dead for that long. And the reason I put on the heat thing before you fucking interrupted me, asshole, is no, could you actually shut your goddamn whore mouth and let me talk? You goddamn bastard. It's because, how long has he been dead in the freezing cold? and you decide to put the Lord of Light and Fire into his body and actually bring his soul back to heat, how long do you think that's going to be instantaneous? Like, it's not this thing that instantaneously works. And I think if you want to go scientifically, Eric, I mean, the body has to fucking warm the fuck up because he's been in sub-zero temperatures for fucking how long. So that makes sense. But if you want to go from just a story aspect, I think everyone leaving and giving up on that point, thinking they didn't do it, makes it more of a miracle in the eyes of those people because it's no longer... It is literally he's brought back by his own accord and by no one else's doing. He's just there. Kind of thing.
But through, like, and I can't think of a better analogy. I'm going to sound cliche, and I apologize, Eric, because you're going to hate me for it. But, like, in the Full Metal Alchemist sense, the laws of transmutation equal, transformation. You have to give something up to bring, to gain something in life and in just everything.
Actually, going with the Full Metal Alchemist.
Up for John to come back.
Going with the Full Metal Alchemist theory. The only person that can do that without giving something up is God, and they asked God to do it. Okay? So going
I don't
with...
know.
No.
So
I'm using your own metaphor against you.
I'm just gonna point out that this whole transmutation metaphor doesn't apply in any way, shape, or form here.
I'm talking about giving up something to gain something. That applies to life.
No, I get that, but it doesn't apply here. Because this is a divine situation. Nothing has to be given up for this to happen.
In that sense, it's God.
In Full Metal Alchemist, that's all alchemy. There's a little bit of a scientific hoopla given there.
Hoopla? Did you just say hoopla?
It's a scientific hoopla, because it's not real fucking science. What do you mean?
It's really magic. It's not science.
0.4% saltpeter. What? No, get the hell out of here.
Well, but you're right. Yeah, it's divine. It's a divine sending or a divine calling. You're asking a divine being for a favor. There is no scientific explanation for it. The burning of the hair thing is ritualistic, not scientific. Right. So it's
which is funny. She chose his hair, his beard hair. And I was like, is she going to get, like, pubic hair, too? Why does she need all these different types of hair?
You got that off-screen. Don't worry about it. Game of Thrones, it was done off-screen.
Well, didn't you notice the conveniently placed towel, by the way?
Like, yeah, right? How much cooler would it have been if it didn't work and Tormund says, fine, we got to burn the body before he becomes a White Walker. And that's when it works. When he's in the freaking pyre, and that's when he wakes up. And
then he just ends up
That is more public, okay? It's honestly because what the fuck would everyone in Castle Black do if all of a sudden he rises from the dead? Okay?
Shoot him with a fucking arrow. Shoot him dead again.
They watched all their friends rise from the dead as White Walkers. They'd fucking kill him.
No, they'd be like...
No, Joe.
They'd be like, oh my God, he's back.
Oh, yeah. Joe, I'm sorry. I'm fine. I'll bow to your wishful thinking that they wouldn't kill him out of fucking being a zombie. Like,
they literally just stabbed him to death because they didn't like him. You think they're not going to shoot him dead with an arrow if they came back? If he came back?
No, they're not. Like, well, I guess what Alistair Thorne proved was that loyalty through disloyalty does not work. It's the same thing with Ramsay. It's the same thing with Joffrey. When you perform a coup because you don't like what the last person did, that doesn't make everybody else like you. So they wouldn't just hate Jon Snow because Alistair killed him again. They would go back to Jon Snow.
I agree
they are going to go back to Jon Snow.
But on the pyre thing, the wildlings alone, with how superstitious they are, the giant would crush him thinking he's a White Walker. Because
they'd be like, Targaryen, R plus L equals J, let's go, next episode.
Because they totally think that way and not out of superstition.
Yes. That's what I want. Two birds with one stone. I want Jon Snow and I want pieces of Targaryen.
Getting back on track, talking about things that have actually happened, I'm actually really psyched for a whole Jon Snow-Melisandre dynamic. Because they're going to be getting a lot more intimate with each other. They're going to start talking. They're going to start building plans together. Yeah, they're going to do a whole lot. And
I think it's going to take him a few episodes to realize he has no more bounds. I think it's not going to be at the first episode. I think he needs to be... I think there needs to come a point where he's going to be given a choice. I think it's when Sansa shows up is when he's going to be given the choice of, my watch ended. That kind of thing. And he passes it on to someone else and leaves. I think that's what's going to happen, but I think it's not going to happen right away. He needs to be given the choice and given that crossroads kind of thing. And I think honestly he did what he had to do. And if He's gonna leave the Night's Watch, because if he doesn't leave the Night's Watch, he's done as a character. He's done as a character.
Idiot if he doesn't leave.
Well, it's nothing to do with that. Just pure story writing. You do that something that miraculous that fits so well with the dynamic of you cannot leave the Night's Watch until you die, then you are the worst writer in history. I'm sorry. You're an idiot. Just...
Yeah. So moving on, looking expectations for next week. We have what's been called on the internet the hashtag Snowball between Ramsey and Jon Snow. I like that a lot. The Snowball that's going to come up. Ramsey's going up to the wall. The wall's going to get ready. They have the wildlings on their side. Ramsey doesn't have his father, not having any more troops. Like, he's got no shot. It's going down. And let's hope that Sansa gets the last knife in his throat.
Yeah.
Interestingly, I feel like things like that don't happen all that often in Game of Thrones.
There's not a lot of justice in Game of Thrones.
Yeah, there's not a lot of justice. The right characters die, but they're not killed by the people we want to
No,
kill
most
them.
of them are killed by sheer happenstance. An
Right.
arrow
Exactly.
flying out of nowhere in an accident.
Like, why is Brienne the one killing Stannis?
True.
Like,
But
that-
Roose Bolton got his justice because there's a shot of when he was right next to Robb Stark and he was stabbed, and then they show the shot of Ramsay Bolton right next to Roose Bolton and he's stabbed. So Roose Bolton got his justice. So there is some justice in the world.
Well, there is some justice. Well, that's the same thing, though. But he wasn't killed by a Stark. He just got, in some
Killed
way,
by-
shape, or form,
Right.
got justice. Here's the thing: is we know people are gonna die, right? Okay, I know that they're not gonna kill Jon Snow again, because if they kill Jon Snow again, you're like, what the fuck? You know, he's
he's good.
Tyrion's probably not gonna die, okay, because that would pretty much end a giant storyline. Okay,
Yeah.
let's just do that.
And we already know he's supposed to make it to the end because Martin said so.
Yeah, and then also
Right. He's his
Daenerys-
favorite character.
And,
So.
but I mean, he's the only one that makes real sense out of the Lannisters to truly survive. You have Daenerys, who's not gonna fucking die because
she's Daenerys.
Yeah, she's fucking Daenerys. So I mean, you have those people that are not gonna die, and then everyone else is just kind of like.
And sorry to the Arya fans that we didn't talk about Arya. Just super quick, Arya. She passed her test. She said, "If you say your name, we'll give you food. If you say your name, we'll give you shelter. If you say your name, we'll give you your sight
She's
back."
becoming Daredevil. That's what she is. She's becoming Daredevil. Okay.
I'm okay with that.
But is she ever truly going to get rid of Arya Stark?
No.
No.
She hid
Right,
the
no,
sword.
no,
She hid
she's
the
just gonna
sword
keep-
under the steps. She's
Just in this
still there.
vicious cycle of getting back in Jack and Hagar's favor, and then she's going to go back to being Arya, and like it's just a vicious cycle.
I think Jack and Hagar knows exactly what he's doing. Here,
I
can
think so,
I
too.
just one thing with him is I think he knows she's not going to let go, but he's going to train her so that she can solve things in the name of the no-face god in Westeros. Because I think he has more plans and has been asked a favor to bring this girl and to actually... I think he has an ulterior motive than to just make her an acolyte of the many-face god. I think he has
so, too.
another motive.
Okay. Well, we'll see that. We got 8 more episodes to go. Final scores, just give your rating. Mine's a 9 out of 10. I absolutely love this episode.
I give it an 8 out of 10. I was pretty good on everything. There were just a few hiccups for me.
Your final scores. Yeah, Chris, sorry, we lost you for a second.
Lost me
Just
for a
restate
second?
your
Sorry.
score.
I lost both of you, so you want to just give me that again? So, because
Yes,
I'm
so
recording.
mine's I'm a 9 out of 10. I really love this episode. Everything went great. We got Jon Snow back. It was beautiful.
Okay.
I'm feeling an 8 out of 10 because while there were a lot of things in this episode that I liked and it was a really, really good episode to watch, there were still a couple of things that I thought really held it back, namely the pacing of how often we killed characters recently, and that was a really pushback for me. So I'm feeling an 8.
I'm feeling about an 8 as well. I totally agree with Eric. The pacing and everything, just killing after killing after killing. I think it's leading up to something great, but I'd like them to slow the fuck down a little bit because it's just like, oh, okay, well, we have nobody. Okay, fantastic, you know?
Not a soul.
Yeah. I think we can all agree, though, that everyone was like iffy on episode 1, but this is what a good episode of Game of Thrones looks like. This is how it's supposed to run. So hopefully we have more episodes like this.
Can I point out, just out of nowhere, it just pounded in my head of all these characters dying. It's like in any sport where the starting lineup is all out on injury and they're just bringing in all the backups and stuff like that. The bench warmers and stuff like that. That's what's happening right now. It's just like, oh, torn ACL. Bring in the other guy. And then, your star player is now coming back off of injury. So that's actually what's happening right now. So
Just in time for the snowball.
exactly.
Right? All right. On that note, we'll see you next week. Stay classy, Westeros.
I hate your guts. I hate your guts.
I've really been waiting a week. So, all right. Next week. See you later.
Bye.